Hello, welcome back. And this video, I'm going to show you how to select, filter, sort your columns, and also how to work with index in with pandas on Python, right? So I'm going to use the same data set, which is this world happiness data set. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to filter your results, right? How to filter your result. In SQL, you had a way of selecting what result are you going to get, what rules are you going to get based on the values you set using your where clause, right? But here we don't have a where clause, so we have to actually do the calculation inside of our question. Yeah. So what I want to do is, before that, let me show you how the data set looks like. Okay, these are our data sets. So what I'm going to do is okay, I'm going to filter this data based on the overall rank, right? So I want to show the rank from 10 and above, 10 and below, right? What I'm going to do is, inside my data sets, right? I'm going to say, okay, give me the result for data sets. Make sure you use the appropriate spacing and the appropriate capitalization. That where rank is greater, okay, it's less than 10, right? Then okay, I think this is it. Okay, let's go. So we got our rank for 0 from 1 all the way to 9, right? So this is how you filter your data, right? You can also go to, it also works for anything that has numbers, but if you want to compare, say using something that has a string, right? What you do is very simple. Say you want from this result set the country Nigeria and Yemen, right? So what you are going to do is you're going to say in countries, just call it countries, create a list of countries that you want to get from your result, that you want to filter your result by, then pass in the what you want to filter it by. So I want to see only Nigeria and this is the Yemen, right? Yemen, okay. In my data set, I'll go back and say data set of country or region, which I'm going to have to specifically put it there. Country or region is in, right? Then I have to pass in this list, right? So it's going to check if these countries, right? It's going to check for this country in this data set, right? In the countries column, and return only the country that are in this list, right? And let's run this. So you got Yemen and Nigeria. So let's see if we could negate. It's not. See, there's a method for that. So to check the parameters a particular method or function takes, you just press a shift and tab. It gives you this pop-up whether each element in the data frame contained in the value, right? So if you have an issue, you could always go to Google and search, like for example, how to use the is in method pandas method, then you always get a appropriate answer. The C method is used to check if the data frame contains a specific value. You can ask, is not, and see if there's a function for that. There should be a function for that. Okay, so to reverse the result is very simple. As you can see here, it's very simple. You just have to go all the way over to here, and then put this tilde sign. Here's the tilde sign, I think this is it. So it gives you the reverse of the result, right? It gives you the result, the reverse of the result. It gives you everything except for these countries, right? So any questions you have, I'm just trying to show you that any questions you have, you can easily search it on Google and it gives you your answer incorrectly. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to filter, right? We are going to filter by if a particular word is inside, right? Not the entire country, right? You just want to filter, like for example, the United States, right? You want to filter by if United is in the country name, right? So what we do here in this case, we have to say data frame, then give us the data frame for, let me just copy this from here. I'm needing this again. Then I will check the string dot contain. This is a string method. We should check what it can do for us. Okay, this is an attribute, right? Then it has a method called contains. Is it contain or contains? Let's see. United, let's see if this works. Okay, did. This is a method this method checks the country keyword, which is what we specified, the column we specified, and it checks if it has a particular word in it, right? So I can also say if it contains Niger, to give me Nigeria and Niger, right? Niger. Run this, it gives me Nigeria and Niger. So it's another way of filtering your keys. So the next thing we need to know is how to actually rename a column. To rename a column is very simple. Let's use our data frame dot rename from method. Then under the rename method, we say column, or you can always check what it takes. It's okay. So you see that our rename method takes a column, an axis, an in place, an error, a level, and a mapper, right? So what we needing is a column. So let's close these columns. Right. Then what you do is you use a map of the old name as your key. Then the new name as the value, right? Then always set in place if you want to keep using this same data frame, like the df, you don't want to change it to a new one, you don't want to have to use a new variable, right? Just set in place so that it changes the result in this particular data frame, right? So once I run this again, my country or region has changed to country, right? Okay. So another way to filter is using your filter method, right? You can say dot filter. Let's check. Okay. Sometimes when you forget, you can check using the shift tab to look at it. Subset the data frame row or column according to the specified index label. Note that this routine does not filter a data frame on its content. The filter is applied to the label of the index, right? So it only filters based on the column name and the index number of the rows, right? That's what it does. And some of the parameters it takes is the items, the like. This item filter based on column name and index number. This filter based on the string value of each of the rows or each of the column, right? Then you have your regex, then you have your axis. You have your 0 axis for your rows and your 1 axis for your columns. We'll get into that very soon. So let's go back to filter and pass in the first and foremost, we're going to pass in the items keyword and say item. Let's filter based on the column. So we need to see just country and score, right? So we're going to say give me item country as for row country and row, I'm sorry, and column, not row, score. Then I should run this and I'm going to get for just country and score, right? And I can add more as much as I want to. This filter based on axis by default uses axis swan, which is for column. Right? If I put axis 0, I will not get any results because there is no row, right, that has country and column. Okay, back to 1. So the next thing I'm going to show you is using the like, right? Using the like instead of this, we use the like. But for this case, what I'm going to do is I can just switch this to like, right? Then instead of using this, I will just make a simple like. Then I can just say count, right? Then I get only for country. I will also be using this for another example going forward. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to sort based on a particular column, right? How to sort either in ascending or in descending order. So to do that, what we need to do is first and foremost get our result here. Say by let's use overall rank on this one. Overall rank. Overall rank. Then I'm gonna say dot sort underscore values method. Then this will take two functions, two methods, which you can check. It takes a by parameter, and it takes an axis, right? Either the rows or the column. And it takes an ascending, then it takes an in place, none. But this is what we're going to focus on: the by, the ascending, and the in place, right? So let's move on. Sort by, and I'm going to have to sort by this again. And remember, you can always sort by multiple values, right? Multiple columns, right? Or multiple rows at the time. If you are using the axis 0, so I'm going to say ascending. Should it be ascending order? I said false, should be descending. Right, so let's run this. I think I made a mistake somewhere. Okay, there's a mistake. Let's go to our error message. Okay, so I think this is supposed to go inside of here. Okay, give me a second to cut this out. Let me confirm. Okay, so the error with it was I needed to actually filter my columns, my result first before I can sort it. I have to filter before I sort, right? So if I were to leave it as this, and if I were to leave it basically like this, I'll get an error that is a non-count. So I have to first filter it before I can actually sort it. Okay, so this is now in descending order. And if I set this to true, it will be automatically in ascending order, right? Okay, so before we learn how to actually reset an index, we need to know how to set it first. So by default, you have your index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the last index. Right? Index starts from 0. But we can always change our index to, say we want to change it from this 0 to, say, country. To do that, use the set index keyword, which takes in the index you want to change to, then also take in the in place parameter. Once I do this and I run this again, you will see that the index has been changed from 0 to any number back to country, down to country. And to reset my index, all I need to do is data frame reset underscore index, set the in place to true, run it. My index has been changed back to 0, 1, 2, down to whatever the index number is, right? So the next thing I need to let you know is the iLock and the location, right? So this helps you get just a particular row and shows you the values of that row. There are two ways to do it. Use the iLocation if you've set your, say I've set my index to country, right? And I want to get the row for that country. My index is no longer 0 to 1. I have to use the location, right, to get the row properties for that particular row. If I am to do it right now, it will give me an error because it tells me that this particular key doesn't exist anywhere, right? But when I change it to country and I rerun this again, it gives me a result telling me that this index, which we changed to country, Finland, it exists, and this is the particular result for this particular row, which is the overall rank, the score, and everything that is needed, and the data type as well, right? So the way the iLog works is, even with this country here, right, we also have our index hidden somewhere, right? So even if you change your index to country, there's still this integer index somewhere, hidden somewhere. So this iLog, simply just use the integer index every time you use the iLog, right? That's what it means, integer location. So if I say iLog 0, it will give me, if I am to, let me run this first. So the first location will be Finland, right? Even if I'm to reset this, let me reset and run. Okay, this is giving me an error. So again, okay. 0 will be Finland and down to 155, right? So if I put iLog 0 here, it will definitely give me Finland, which is the same Finland. Even if I am to set my index to countries and run this again, it's back to country, and I still leave at 0, to still give me the same Finland, because the index location, the integer index location, never really changes. It's always there somewhere. Okay. So the next thing you can actually do is you can set index to multiple, like you can have multiple values as your index, right? Which is very easy to do. Instead of using this like this, you can just put it in a square bracket, grab it and put the other thing you want to use as your index right there. Okay, so you can say score, right? Run this, let me see what we got. Okay, I think we've already made it an index, so we have to reset, come back here, then run. Okay. So we have your country and your score as your index value, right? So that's just it. Let me just reset back to the normal index way and rerun this. So the next thing you need to know is that we can actually sort our index using the sort index method, right? Sort index. Okay. So what it takes is parameter it takes is your axis, your ascending, your in place, right? So this is the one we are going to be using. We are going to set the ascending. Since we have two index, we can set the ascending for each of them, right? You can say ascending equals to, we can have a list. Since we have two, we can say for the country it should be true, and for the score it should be false. And remember, it always takes, there's always an order of importance, right? It will do for the first one. If it's possible, it also do for the second one. But if it's not, it will not do for that one, right? So we have your ascending equals true, and your score is not going to change because it's not possible to sort by score again, since there's only one. There's no the country is only just one. You can't really sort by score again, right? So if I change this to false, I have Zimbabwe, right? So that is it for this particular video. So please rewatch the video until you understand the concept in it.